Once again, Bexar County has sent out their property appraisal values, and again, they're extremely high. Now, maybe I could sell my house for that amount or even higher, but let's face it, none of us want to pay these property taxes, and it's our job to bring those values down for the benefit of all of our neighbors. So, let me teach you exactly how to do it. I shot this video, believe it or not, 9 years ago, and everything that I said in it is still true to this day. Let's watch. Today I wanted to visit with you about getting your notice of appraised value. Those should have gone out, and so check your mail if you haven't received it. And if you don't receive anything at all, you may want to call the appraisal board and see if it got lost, or maybe they haven't changed your appraised value, and I still think it's worth objecting to it even if they haven't changed your appraised value. The goal here is to get you to save as much as you possibly can on taxes, and so I think it's important to protest your appraised value no matter what the value is. Even if you think that it's a fair market value, I'd go ahead and protest it. And so what I wanted to do today was briefly talk to you about some of the strategies that I've used in the past to make sure that I get that value down. So what the appraised value is talking about the value of your property and the land that your property sits on. It's not talking about the tax rate or anything like that. So what you're going in there to do is to protest your exact value, and you're going to argue that it's not worth as much as they seem to think it is. Again, you don't actually have to believe this, but you do want to save money, so you want to go in there and protest it anyway. And there are two ways that you can protest it. The first is filling out the form on the back of your notice of appraised value. And the second is, and I think this only applies to properties with homestead exemptions, is you have the option to electronically protest it. If you electronically protest it, you'll have two additional options. One, you can meet face-to-face in an informal hearing with an appraiser. And the second option is that you just upload things online, your documents and your photos online, and then you never meet with them face-to-face. I personally prefer to meet face-to-face with the informal appraiser, and I like to do that because, I don't know, I just think that people are a little bit more lenient when you go in there and you've got a smile on your face and you are asking them about their day and how are you doing, and you can say things like, well, gosh, my house isn't that nice. I mean, look at this. Just that face-to-face is very powerful, and I think that we can manipulate the appraiser a little bit better if you're face-to-face with them and you're being very sweet. I don't think that going in angry is a great approach in this circumstance, and so that would be a little bit of my tidbits on meeting face-to-face. But you can, if you don't have time or you don't have the ability to go in, you can certainly do it for your homestead electronically and just submit your information. I just think that's a little bit colder and not as effective. But what your first thing that you're going to want to do is actually protest. And again, that's electronically, or you fill out the back of the form. The second thing that you want to do is attend the informal meeting with the appraiser. And this is a very easy meeting. I don't think I've ever been in there more than 30 minutes. So, and I've always been successful. So it's not a hard process, but to that informal meeting, what you're going to want to do is bring in some evidence that your house isn't as nice. So in advance, you can ask for what properties they're comparing you to, and then you can drive by and you can take photos and say things like, well, my roof is older or it's not as nice. You can always ask me if it's recently sold. If I can send you over some information on that, I'm happy to do that. Just shoot me an email at kerri@lovewhereyoulive.com, and I will be more than happy to run some comps for you. And also, I like to take a lot of photos and come in with photos, and I take pictures of things that are out of date in my home, which I have a lot of things that are out of date. And I also take pictures of things that might be a little bit deferred maintenance. And I don't have a lot because I stay on top of that stuff. But if I know of anything that I haven't taken care of yet, or that might be an eyesore or something like that, I would say take a photo of that and bring that in with you. So again, those are out-of-date items because a lot of your neighbors may have updated their kitchen, for example, and my kitchen is terribly outdated. And so sending photos or bringing in photos of that would be very effective. As well as any deferred maintenance items. Sometimes we've got settling cracks, or if your floor is sloped in any way. I've got one spot, I've got a great foundation, but I put a level on it and I show, look, it's not level. And so that's one of my things that I also do. Yes, I also pull sales and what's recently sold, but I found that a lot of times that tends to increase my value because my neighbors are selling for such a high amount. So I think that's a great approach to take when the economy is doing as well and the housing market isn't as strong. So what we're seeing now is a lot of homes that are going over asking price and things like that, which doesn't necessarily help your appraised value. So my successful approach in this market would definitely be to take photos of your house and present that kind of evidence. If you do not get a satisfactory result from your informal hearing with the appraiser, you can bump it up and protest to the appraisal board, and that's when you'll meet with 3 appraisal board members, and you and an appraiser will sit across the desk from them, and the appraiser will present his information and you will present your information, and then the 3 appraisal board members will vote on what they think a fair appraised value is. I've done this before. I think the process is a little intimidating, and because there are 3 appraisal board members and you're going against the appraiser, it tends to be a little bit more cutthroat and not as lenient as the informal one. So what I've determined is that I'm much more successful with the informal, even if I, again, don't agree with, I do think that my house would actually sell for more than they're appraising it for. Always argue, because you'll get something off and then you'll save money. So those are my tidbits. I hope that you find that information helpful. Always stick with the facts and show photos and sales data, but try to stick to the facts, but also do a little bit of emotional pleading and flirting, if you will, so that you can get the appraised value down. So if you have any specific questions or concerns about this process, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. I've protested it myself every year. Another option is certainly to hire somebody to do that. I've never felt that that was necessary because I think that the process is fairly easy, and I don't think that you need to be an expert in any way, and you know your property a whole lot better than somebody else does. So I'm all for doing it yourself. Thanks for watching. My name is Kerri Hoermann with Kerri Real Estate. And if you need to get in touch with me for your real estate needs, I would be honored to work with you.